Okay, first part, areas of responsibility. What's our task out here in the field? Number one is safety. That's our primary goal. A lot of people assume that the reason that the Commercial Vehicle Division is out here is to increase the coffers in the state budget. Well, it doesn't count that way. We really do not receive any of the citations that we issued out here. All go to any monies that are assessed, go to the local jurisdiction. The state does not receive any compensation for this stuff. So our primary goal out here really is safety. Are you operating a safe piece of equipment? Now, I've been in this business for 40 some odd years, and that the equipment that I used to drive when I first started driving, you wouldn't even get it on the road today. And that, so you guys are coming into a very good environment, and the way it gets better is you people have to make it better for yourself. Don't compensate for your safety. You're the one that has to go to work, be out here in the environment you have to be into, and go home every night. That's the key issue. Okay, one of the primary jobs is size, weight, and load. Whether you're hauling an oversized load, like in this instance, as to are you legal on the road. If you're hauling a smaller operation here, there's still requirements. Are you legal to operate on our highways? This gentleman right here was only legally licensed for the power unit. And that we stop him down at the Plymouth scale. He comes in with this whole unit. No, he's not legal to operate in the state of Washington. He had to buy some permits and a bunch of other stuff to get himself legal. Another big one has to do with load securement. Load securement has become a very big issue for a number of reasons. Laws have changed in the fact that if this is your load of scrap iron here, this little chunk of metal there comes off of your vehicle, bounces up, goes through the front window of somebody's car and kills somebody, you get to go to jail. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It is a felony for that to happen now. So there are some big issues here of how, going back to your driver responsibility, to know that your load is safe. And then load securement as far as requirements here only require a strap every 10 foot on this stuff. But if you've ever hauled a load of this kind of pipe, you know that a strap every 10 foot's not going to work. You're going to have to put more. So the law gives you a starting point, but if you know for some reason you're hauling a bunch of rolled fencing, basic securement is never going to cut it for a load of cyclone-type fencing. It's just not going to work. It's your responsibility to know, okay, I've got to put extra tie-down straps or whatever it's going to take to make that load secure. And we have very specific rules and regulations as to size, weight, and load. Another large part of the program is the fact that we've really kind of got a, not really say a hold, but we've got a heads up on the vehicle part of it. We've done a lot of work in getting vehicles safe out here. One of the big issues that we have problems with, and it's harder to control, is you as the drivers. And that we can't control your attitude out here. We can't control the fact that you're working 2 jobs and you're out here on the road and you can't even keep your head up from bobbing and hitting the steering wheel because you're so tired. And that we do the best we can, and that's where a lot of our enforcement is going to be directed now due to a kind of a change in focus is driver issues. And that, I don't know how many of you have sleep apnea. I'm one that does. Sleep apnea is a big issue, whether you get your CDL or not. If you have sleep deprivation problems and you're under doctor's care, you must follow his requirements for you to maintain your CDL. Diabetes, if you have diabetes, there are means now that you can have diabetes, have to take injections, and still be able to drive truck. But there are specific stuff, the types of medications you're taking. Realize that if you're taking regular prescription drugs, your company needs to know what kind of drugs you're taking. It's not just that they want to know whether or not you're doing illegal drugs or not. There's a big issue out here for the amount and the misuse of legal drugs for truck drivers. You take too much of it, you don't take enough of it, whatever, it becomes big issues on whether or not you're performing your duties, you're awake, you're alert, and can do your job. We're going to take a look at your CDL and make sure that it's a valid CDL. In the state of Washington, if you're suspended in any state in the United States, for any reason, you are suspended in the state of Washington. And this has become a big issue because some states feel that, oh, well, if we're not suspended in Washington, who really cares? Well, we do. If you're suspended, you're suspended. We don't care where you're suspended at. You can have a Washington license. You made a trip, a vacation down to California, and you got a speeding ticket. Well, I'm not going to go back to California, so I'm not going to pay the ticket. Guess what? California suspends your driver's license. You are now suspended in the state of Washington. So if you have this type of stuff, you need to be sure you take care of it. We're going to take a look at the vehicle information, shipping papers. We're going to be looking at the vehicle licensing. Are you properly licensed for what you're operating out here in the industry? So just a lot of stuff that you need to know. When you're stopped at a scale or an officer wants to see your paperwork, what he's asking for is all of this stuff. He wants your CDL. He wants your medical certificate, any medical waivers. He wants to see the truck and trailer registrations, any permits, any other types of licensing. If you're hauling hazardous materials, he wants to see the hazmat registrations for your company. Wants to see shipping papers. What are you hauling? Where are you going from and to? And that. So when you get called into the scale, remember to bring it all. If you like walking, and that's one of your big things, and you don't mind walking back and forth between the scale house and your truck 10 times, bring it in one piece at a time. Doesn't bother us. But if you're smart, you'll bring it all in at once. And your logbook. We're going to want to see your hours of service requirements. Are you up and current on those hours of service? CVSA has to do with the Commercial Vehicle Safety Alliance, and this is a criteria that we use to inspect your vehicle. So that if you go through an inspection here in the state of Washington, it's the exact same inspection you go through in California, Florida, Maine. We don't care where it's at. It's our guidelines in how to do a safety inspection on your piece of equipment. It also has guidelines for if it's a bad enough violation, you have over 20% of your brakes out of adjustment, you are placed out of service at this point until the vehicle is repaired. You don't get the opportunity to take it in and get it fixed at a repair shop. If it meets out of service criteria, you will have to fix it at the point of the inspection. And we look at everything from the brakes. We will crawl underneath the vehicle, check what's underneath of it, cracked frames, any of this kind of stuff. But brakes, big concern. Tires, do you have good tires on the vehicle? Other parts of the vehicle, accessory items. If you're hauling oversized loads or equipment, do you have it properly secured on your vehicle? We're going to check it all. If you can pass the CVSA inspection and it's a full inspection, you're going to be able to get a safety sticker that basically is good for about a 3-month period. We can tell when the truck's been inspected, how long it's been inspected, unless we see some other violation. You're going to be able to continue up and down the road. Hazardous materials. This is the part that I specialize in with the department. We just got done this last weekend with a cargo tank inspection weekend where Savage Transportation sponsored they gave us their facility, and that we showed up with a number of officers. Any company that wanted to participate was allowed to have their truck inspected. If it passed, they got their CVSA sticker in the window, which we'll show you a little bit later. But it gave us the opportunity to look at the hazardous materials transporters in this area prior to their season starting, so that we know the equipment before the season gets going, that their equipment's in excellent shape. We did 75 level 1 inspections in 2 days on the equipment here. Industry and that was, we just are tickled pink with their response to this program because it makes it easier for them and easier for us. Now, they volunteered these trucks for inspection, and that if there were items there that placed that vehicle out of service, it was placed out of service. The only thing we did not do, if there was violations, we wrote them up. The only thing we didn't do is write citations because it was a voluntary. But excellent, excellent program. Back to partnering with the industry.